The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
This week, the court found Mamuka Khazaradze, Badri Japaridze and Avtandil Tsereteli guilty and sentenced them to 7 years in prison. However, exempted them from criminal charges. Judge Giorgi Arevadze announced the verdict. The court also requalified the initial charges of money laundering to Article 180 to A3B to the Criminal Code involving fraud committed by more than one person and in large quantities. According to Mamuka Khazaradze, Badri Japaridze and Avtandil Tsereteli, they will appeal against this decision and will fight for its abolition.
The General Prosecutor's Office of Georgia also responded to the court ruling with an official statement. They claim that the Tbilisi City Court fully approved the evidence presented by the prosecution and found Mamuka Khazaradze, Badri Japaridze and Avtandil Tsereteli guilty, but meanwhile the court did not agree with the prosecution's assessment of the legal classification of the crime. We can give you more details about the statement released by the prosecutor's office.
Tbilisi City Court fully approved the evidence presented by the prosecution and found Mamuka Khazaradze, Badri Japaridze and Avtandil Tsereteli guilty of fraudulent misappropriation of $60,654,000 USD belonging to TBC Bank under the Article 180 of the Criminal Code of Georgia. However, the court did not agree with the prosecution's assessment of the legal classification of the crime committed, which is why the defendant's actions were classified as fraud. As a part of the criminal case, each accused was sentenced to 7 years of imprisonment. According to the criminal procedure legislation of Georgia, they have been exempted from serving their sentences due to the expiration of the statute of limitations for criminal prosecution for fraud. We would like to remind the public that Mamuka Khazaradze, Badri Japaridze and Avtandil Tsereteli were charged with money laundering under Article 194 of the Criminal Code of Georgia. The prosecution will appeal the court's decision to the Court of Appeals within the time frame set by law.
Mamuka Khazaradze and Badri Japaridze were acquitted of money laundering charges. Ekaterina Gutia, lawyer of Badri Japaridze and Mamuka Khazaradze, wrote in a letter, "All liens against my client's properties dismissed, all provisional measures vacated, trial ended, first legal battle won. Congratulations to them. The court convicted my clients of fraud, instead a predicate crime which is statutorily time-barred offense with no sentence or jail time possible due to statute of limitations. We will appeal this part of the decision in the courts of higher instances and the ECHR if needed, because there was no fraud, because this is a political persecution. Justice will prevail," reads Egutia's statement.
Katie Kvartskava, partner of BLC Law Office, also evaluated the ruling by stating that the only purpose of the orchestrated attack on Badri Japaridze and Mamuka Khazaradze was to damage their reputation and suspend the Anakle Port project. When we talk about the project of the country, I mean Anakle deep water seaport, it's impossible for its investors to have damaged its reputation, and the attack has that purpose. Thus, it became impossible to take further steps in a project, and eventually the government terminated the contract with the Anakle Development Consortium, Kvartskava said.
Anakle Development Consortium itself also responded to the ruling of Tbilisi City Court regarding its principal investors Mamuka Khazaradze and Badri Japaridze, calling it the political vendetta carried out by Georgian Dream in its effort to kill the Anakle Deepwater Port project.
After 3 years of political persecution against Mamuka Khazaradze and Badri Japaridze, the Tbilisi City Court has rendered a judgment designed to keep a cloud of baseless criminal charges hanging over their heads, reports Anakle Development Consortium. Take a look. The judgment is simply an attempt at political face-saving by the judiciary and the government. It's true that the court has discarded the money laundering charges. However, the court has also arbitrarily replaced them with a finding of fraud without the authority to make such a finding. There is no basis under the law for this action by the court. This outcome is a farce, measures. Khazaradze and Japaridze were tried of one crime but convicted of another, which was never presented by the prosecutor. For ADC's part, this judgment is further proof that the ruling party remains intent on either killing the nuclear port project outright or ensuring that it cannot proceed with the involvement of ADC's investors.
Yes, David, and we have seen Khazaradze's friends from Harvard publish a letter ahead of the trial. Representatives of up to 20 countries with large capital and investment portfolios fully supported Mamuka Khazaradze. For more details on this case, you can visit our webpage bm.g. We try to keep you updated on everything that matters for business and economics in this country and beyond. Our Facebook page, BMG English, and all social networks of BMG also have some additional information of local and global importance.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.